Welcome to my revision of my textbook I wrote to teach homeschoolers world history. A Bible believer looks at world history. I'm talking about Sodom and Gomorrah right now today. So in chapter 17 of Genesis, God changes Abram's name to Abraham and commanded circumcision as a token of the covenant between them. This later spread to the Egyptians after the Jews lived in that country. Chapter 18 reinforces God's promise of a son to Abraham through his wife, Sarah, which name was also changed from Sarai in chapter 17. God's intention to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah is revealed in this chapter as well. Although modern students of the Bible dispute as to the location of these two cities, Archbishop Usher makes the following statement regarding them, and I'm quoting here. The monument of their destruction, remains to this day, even the Dead Sea. The valley of Sodom, where these 5 cities stood in former times, was full of brimstone and salt pits. This has since grown into a vast lake, which, because of the brimstone floating in it, is called Lasis Asphaltitis, or Lake of Brimstone, and because of the salt, Mare Salsum, or the Salt Sea, unquote. He then refers to the historian Salinas for a description of the area. I think it would be suitable to define brimstone here. It means sulfur. The American Heritage Dictionary defines sulfur as, quote, a pale yellow, non-metallic element occurring widely in nature in several free and combined allotropic forms. It is used in black gunpowder, rubber vulcanization, the manufacture of insecticides and pharmaceuticals, and the preparation of sulfur compounds such as hydrogen sulfide and sulfuric acid, unquote. Now, according to a study initiated by the Institute for Petroleum and Organic Geochemistry, Jülich, Federal Republic of Germany, cited on the Internet's Department of Energy citations database, the Dead Sea area is formed by oils, asphalts, and sulfur compounds. Now, an interesting study would be to research the efforts by archaeologists to locate the cities that God destroyed at this time. From reading the chronicle of the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah and the perversion that plagued those cities, and recalling the sexual content of ancient worship, one can imagine the depraved nature of the ancient world. If you add this to the aforementioned manner in which the rebellious sons of God in Genesis 6 dealt with humanity, we get a very negative picture of mankind's moral standing before God. Solinus was a Latin grammarian and historian of the 3rd century AD, by the way. So let's talk about the beginning of persecution. In chapter 21 of Genesis, we see the first persecution of Abram's child of promise, Isaac, by his older brother Ishmael. Usher begins the 400-year persecution until the Exodus from this point. So do several Jewish commentators. See Galatians 4:29, Genesis 15:13, and Acts 7:6. Ishmael, the son of an Egyptian and the father of the Arab nations, according to them, is still persecuting Isaac. It's interesting to note that the late Yasser Arafat was an Egyptian. Isaac's feast and Ishmael's mocking occurred in 1891 BC, according to Usher's chronology. Abraham testing with regard to Isaac's sacrifice, quote unquote, occurred in 1871 BC, according to the same chronology. Finally, Sarah's death and his first purchase of property in Canaan for her grave is given as 1859 BC. Interestingly, Shem, Noah's son and Abram's ancestor, doesn't die until 1846 BC. Now, Dr. Floyd Nolan Jones, in his 1993 Chronology of the Old Testament, agrees in the main with Usher, using computer models based on a literal application of the Bible. Now, at this time, traditional historians believe that the Middle Kingdom of Egypt was in power, starting with the 12th dynasty with well-trained professional armies, including Nubian auxiliary units. According to Harper's Encyclopedia of Military History, we are right on the edge of the Hyksos invasion of Egypt and its first foreign invasion by Semitic peoples who, according to Harper's, quote, introduced the horse and horse-drawn chariot in Egypt, which I don't understand. That makes no sense to say that the horse wasn't there, but we'll get to this later when we get to Joseph. So we'll talk about that some more. So now, next I'm going to talk about India. I hope if you watch this video, you'll click like, subscribe, or follow. Feel free to make comments. You have something to add or think I should change something or something more deeply that interests you, so I can come back to it. I've learned a lot by people's comments, so certainly appreciate that. Thank you for watching.